Good morning and welcome to a new month where we talk about business. It is Business 360 and my name is Blyden Okem. In Business 360 today, the talking point begins with Ukraine war. As the UK defense giant BAE System has set up a legal entity in Ukraine and has signed deals to help ramp up supplies of weapons and equipment to Kiev. The firm says the move will allow it to work directly with Ukraine to explore potential partners and ultimately produce light artillery there. BAE has met much of the arms the UK and other nations have sent to Ukraine. Since the Russian invasion in February 2022, Britain has become a major defense supplier to Ukraine. On the foreign scene still, Chinese President Xi Jinping is planning to skip next week's Group of 20 summit in New Delhi, India, according to officials familiar with preparations for the meeting. A snub likely to aggravate strain in India. Tensions between China and India, the world's two most populous countries, already threatened to prevent G20 leaders from issuing a joint communique for the first time since the forum was created in 1999, according to separate people familiar with the situation. Xi's non-attendance would be a further blow for the host, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Chinese Premier Li Guang will attend in Xi's place, according to reports. In Nigeria, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, Speaker of the House of Representatives, on Thursday severely condemned the misuse of tax breaks and exemptions. The Speaker also pointed out that people who abuse tax waivers are sabotaging the economy and must be stopped. The Speaker made these comments at the inauguration of the ad hoc committee, which has been tasked with looking into claims of misuse of tax advantages by public institutions and businesses that benefit from them. Regarding airport expansion, the federal government has said it will demolish 2 multi-billion naira private jet terminals and aircraft hangars to pave the way for the expansion of the newly inaugurated international terminals of the Murtala Mohammed Airport, Lagos. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, who made the disclosure during an inspection of facilities at the Lagos airport on Thursday, said the private jets terminals were obstructing the expansion of the apron size of the new Chinese-built terminal, which was opened in March 2022. According to him, the apron size of a new international terminal is not adequate to accommodate jumbo-sized planes operating international routes. According to reports, over 22 private jets belonging to some prominent Nigerians and organizations are expected to be relocated from the 2 multi-billion naira private jet terminals and hangars ahead of the demolition of the facilities. Still in Nigeria, a non-executive director of Sterling Financial Holdings plc, Abubakar Suleiman, has increased his stakes in the group by 7,882,228 units. Suleiman, who is also the chief executive officer of Sterling Bank, purchased the shares on Tuesday and Wednesday on the Nigerian exchange platform in Lagos, according to a trading notice filed with the Nigerian Exchange Limited on Thursday. He bought the shares at the rate of 3 naira 47 kobo per unit, which brought the value of the deal to 27.351 million naira. Abubakar's latest share acquisition came a few weeks after he had bought 50 million units of the lender's shares in a deal worth 168 million naira. He bought the shares at the rate of 3 naira 36 kobo per unit. Regarding Bua Cement, the chairman of Bua Cement plc, Abdul Samad Rabiu, has expressed optimism that a completion of the company's 2 new factories by the end of the year would trigger a reduction in the price of cement. Rabiu said this during an interview with journalist Health on the sidelines of the company's 7th annual general meeting on Thursday in Abuja. He disclosed that the two factories are the Obu Line 3 and the Sokoto Line 5, which would give the company a combined capacity of 6 million tons. The board chairman also said that the company would support the efforts of the federal government to drive down the price of cement in the country. Looking at Nigeria's manufacturing sector, manufacturing contribution to the economy drops to 2.2%. The real sector's contribution to the Nigerian economy dipped to 2.2% year-on-year in the second quarter of the 2023 report, according to Gross Domestic Product report of the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS). The report showed that the growth rate of the sector on a quarter-on-quarter basis stood at a negative 14.98%. The real contribution to GDP in the second quarter of 2023 was 8.62%, lower than the 8.65% recorded in the second quarter of 2022, and lower than the 10.13% recorded in the first quarter of 2023. The drop in the sector's contribution to the economy has been linked to an array of bottlenecks, which bedeviled the real sector of the economy in the second quarter of the year. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll look at global economic statistics all around the world and the economic data all around the world. Don't go anywhere.
With rising fees and stagnating graduate wages, these days university can feel like a risky investment. Here's The Economist's tips on how to make your degree worthwhile. In England, graduates in economics, medicine and computing almost all get positive returns on their studies, making back the money they invested. Other grads aren't as lucky. Negative returns are likeliest for those studying creative arts. This is especially true for men. Less than 10% of male creative arts students ever make back their investment. While traditional wisdom suggests opting for elite institutions like the Ivy League or Russell Group, our research suggests it's what you study, not where, that most affects how much you make. But don't be tempted to try to cheat the system. Researchers in Norway discovered that students who wanted to study humanities but opted for the sciences instead actually earned less than they would have had they stuck with their passion. Across the rich world, less than 40% of undergrads finish their degree on time. That means even more fees on top of loss of potential income. In America, every additional year you spend at university costs on average $38,000 in fees and lost earnings. So maybe it's not surprising that 56% of Americans believe a degree is no longer worth the time and money. But on average, graduates do earn more than their high school educated peers. For men, the gap in America is nearly $600,000 over a lifetime. Of course, the benefits you gain from university depend on many different factors. But the numbers do suggest ways to get the best bang for your educational buck. So choose well and finish on time.
Thanks for watching.
Welcome back. It is Business 360 and my name is Blyden Okem. Now to global economy, looking at economic statistics all around the world, beginning with economic calendar. Looking at the expected data releases for today, the calendar this morning. According to economic calendar this morning, as at 2:45 a.m. in the morning, The Casin Manufacturing PMI, which is the Purchasers Managers Index, came out for August in China at 51 index level. A previous standing was 49.2 level. Consensus picture was at 49.3, but the focus at 49.3, and it came out better than the focus and consensus level. Further in the day, we also saw some identities in the economic statistics and what many are thinking of in the calendar. Let's look at further in the day what the outline would be. By 1:30 p.m. today, a GDP growth rate quarter on quarter for the second quarter in Canada would be expected to be out. A previous standing was at 0.8% growth rate, but the focus indicates a 0.1% growth, quite a slowdown compared to previous standings. By 1:30, investors will be looking forward to the GDP growth rate quarter on quarter for the second quarter in Canada. Still on 1:30 p.m. in the US, non-farm payrolls would be out. The numbers previously was at 187,000. The focus indicates 180,000, but it further betrays unemployment rate in the US. A previous standing was at 3.5%, and focus is still 3.5%. Let's look at further in the day still what the numbers would be. Still on today, the first day of the month and the last trading day of this week, by 3 p.m., the ISM Manufacturing PMI, the Purchasers Managers Index for August in the US, is expected to be out. Previous standing was at 46.4 index level, but the focus has taken it a notch higher to 47 index level. We wait until 3 p.m. to see what the outings would be. Still on the economy. In Asia now, India's economy. India's economy expanded by 7.8% in April to June quarter, the most in a year, and slightly surpassing market expectations of a 7.7% expansion. The robust performance of the service sector was the main driver of GDP growth, accompanied by strong consumer demand and increased government capital expenditure. The private consumption, which accounts for nearly 60% of the economy, grew about 6%, while capital formation growth eased to about 8%. According to forecasts released by the Reserve Bank of India, Asia's third largest economy is projected to expand by 6.5% in the fiscal year. In Europe, the Eurozone unemployment rates. The euro area seasonally adjusted unemployment rate stayed at a record low of 6.4% in July 2023, matching market forecasts. A year earlier, the jobless rate was higher at 6.7%. Still, the number of unemployed people increased by 73,000 from a month earlier to 10.944 million. Meanwhile, the youth unemployment rate, measuring job seekers under 25 years of age, was stable at an all-time low of 13.8% in July 2023, unchanged from the prior month. Amongst the largest euro area economies, the lowest jobless rate was recorded in Germany, 2.9%, while the highest rates were observed in Spain, 11.6%, Italy, 7.6%, and France, 7.4%. Now let's talk about the euro country with the lowest jobless rate, Germany. Germany's unemployment rates remain unchanged at 5.7% in August 2023, aligning with the two-year high figure observed in both June and July and matching market expectations. Unemployment levels grew by 18,000, totaling 2.63 million people, and surpassing market forecasts, which anticipated a 10,000 increase. Year on year, the number of unemployed people increased by 142,000. Regional variation persists, with Bremen and Berlin the highest unemployment rates, while Bayern and Baden-Württemberg continue to have the lowest rates. In Africa, looking at Zambia's economy. The annual inflation rate in Zambia accelerated for the second month to 10.8% in August 2023, the highest since April 2022, up from 10.3% in the prior month. The increase in overall inflation was mainly due to a depreciation of the kwacha, the Zambian currency, which was reflected in rising prices for both food and non-food products in July. The kwacha has seen some volatility, which can be attributed